Okay. Morning, everyone. At this time, I'm just going to ask you, please, to remain seated.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Sam Campanella. I'd like to ask everybody to please rise and join our class for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. On behalf of the entire 20th Supervisor Academy class, I'd like to thank everybody here in attendance. First, for everything you've done to help us and support us along the way to get us to where we are now. And second, for the continued support and dedication, moving forward, helping to develop us into more successful leaders. Over the past 3 weeks, the faculty staff and steering committee, led by Karen Powell and Mike Cameradiner, invested many hours teaching us valuable concepts and skills, equipping us with the necessary tools to be recognized as better leaders back in our respective departments. Additionally, our class would like to thank our executive class sponsor, Derek DeRizio, for his guidance and feedback throughout our entire process working on our class project. At this time, I'd like to direct everybody's attention to the program you received as you walked in. On the bottom of the front page, you can see it has our project challenge. In our first week, Derek came in and spoke with us, and he presented us with a problem and asked for us to provide recommendations to improve our business in an area where we need to achieve top quartile performance in providing safe, reliable, economic, and greener energy. From being posed with that challenge, we worked together as a group and divided into 4 separate groups, which each group had representatives from each line of business. We first performed a gap analysis, and second, by speaking up and putting our suggestions in, we developed solutions and recommendations with an action plan to be implemented to improve our organization in an area that we identified. As you will see through the following presentation, our class focused on customer satisfaction. Whether we're at our personal lives, living at home, being a neighbor to somebody within our PS territory, or a call center representative on the phone with somebody, or a technician in the field responding to an emergency, we are the face of our organization. As the face of our organization, it's important to uphold to our current positive reputation. Our reputation is the most important asset and needs to be maintained as we do for all of our physical assets. So with that, I would like to direct everybody's attention to our agenda. Following the welcome message, we will go through a safety message, then turn it over to our program manager, Karen Powell, followed by our executive sponsor, and then from there we'll work as our team, and our problem statement will be identified with our analysis and recommendations, following with a conclusion. At the end of the conclusion, we will come up and do our key learning testimonies before we end for the reception. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome up Venki Bogum to go through our safety message.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before I go to safety message, for emergencies, we have 2 exits towards your left, one over there, one in here. And the nearest door is door 3, the door you came in. Today's safety message is about distracted driving. How many of you have seen this? How many of you have done it? Okay, I have some facts for you. The data is based on a government website called distraction.gov, and it is as of year 2012. Over 3,300 people killed in distracted driving related accidents. That's a big number. Over 421,000 people injured in motor vehicle related crashes. This is about 9% increase from 2011. So the rate is alarming. Over 171 billion text messages are sent in US every month. Think about it, it's a big number. Now I ask you to close your eyes and imagine that you are driving a New Jersey Turnpike at 55 mph per hour. Please open your eyes now. Now you closed your eyes for 4.6 seconds and drove a length of football field blind. This is the same amount of time you take your eyes off the road when sending or receiving a text message. Think about it. Anything can happen in that time. And also, people who use handheld devices, they are 3 times likely get into crashes. What can we do? Currently, 41 states ban text messaging as well as handheld devices. And speak up. If you see somebody doing texting and driving, ask them to stop it. Be a good passenger and spread the word. Also take a pledge. There is a pledge form available at distraction.gov. If you fill up the form, put it on dashboard or where it is visible and try to stick to it. 3 things to remember. Don't text and drive. Put your phone down. And as you all know, school is open, drive carefully. Thank you. Now I welcome Karen Powell, our Program Manager, Supervisory Academy.
Thank you. I too would like to welcome you to graduation. It's always my pleasure to have an opportunity to thank all the people that made the Academy successful. And I'd like to take you back to your program and look at the executive speakers that we've already had. Altogether, we will have had 17 presidents and vice presidents speak to the class, 13 so far, and we have 4 more next week down at Nuclear. I think this is probably the only opportunity people get to hear this many executives in this short period of time in their whole career. And it's always one of the highlights for the students too, because they get to hear about the challenges and the opportunities and the strategic direction. And I always get comments about how much the strategic direction is just right on from whoever they listen to. You'll also see that the subject matter experts who helped with presentation skills, and we have performance management for the bargaining unit next week, and a couple will be involved in that. So we're very fortunate to have the kind of executive support that we have for this program. And one of the people that I'd like to thank particularly is Peggy Pago, who is the executive sponsor for leadership development. She visited the Academy several times. She comes and goes, and she hears different parts of the Academy, and she always teases me and says that pretty soon I'm going to have to give her a graduation diploma because she's been here enough to hear it all. Then I'd also like to acknowledge on here the steering committee who is working with us to look at the Academy. The Academy has been running since 2007, so you know it's time to look and make sure that we're as effective as we need to be and as cost effective as we need to be. So you see their names listed there to the left. I would also like to thank Derek DeRizio, our class sponsor, who you saw just slip in the door here. He gave the class their project on Thursday of the first week and then has been in touch with the class working with them since then. And in a minute, I'll turn it over to him to say a few words. I'd also like to thank Michael Kammerdiener that you see right here in the middle. Michael, would you show them who you are, please? He is the core faculty member for the Supervisory Academy, and he is truly a gifted instructor, which I've heard these people acknowledge over and over in the 3 weeks we've been together. And also to thank Vernita Harrell, who has been working with me helping me get everything put together. I really appreciate it. And finally, to the managers. I know I thanked you when we opened, and I thanked you again when you came to the Academy on Friday of the first week to have lunch with your people and to talk about what development efforts need to happen after these people get back to their jobs. Without the support of the managers, it's the development plan that they work so hard on just doesn't happen. So we really appreciate your coming. And at that managers meeting, and he couldn't be here this morning, but Marios Kamfanteras from Nuclear, the CFAM manager of training, conducted the managers meeting, and we really had a good discussion on the follow-up plans that need to happen. And finally, I would like to thank this class. They've been a very interesting and unique class. There are 21 people, and of those 21, and we always look at the MBTI scores because you think you would know what the overall demeanor of the class was going to be. Well, 81% of them are extroverts, except for 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning and 1 and 2 in the afternoon. And then they're total introverts. You hardly know they're alive. In fact, I threatened one day to go buy a bunch of mirrors to put under their noses to see if everybody was still breathing. They discouraged me from doing that. The time at the Heldridge was wonderful because the winter weather couldn't get at us. All we had to do was look out the window and hear how bad it was from the people coming in, but we didn't have to face it until we made the transition from the Heldridge here. And the Monday morning, a week ago Monday, when that blizzard was forecast, we all scurried around and got into the Hampton Inn, 3 blocks from here, so the Academy could start at 7:30 on Monday morning, and it did. But as you recall, the weather got extremely cold after that blizzard that didn't happen. But you wouldn't have known that on Monday morning in here because it got very heated on that Monday morning because we do the investment game on competition and collaboration on Monday morning, and they found out that people don't always do what they say they were going to do. And they came up with masterful strategies to try to get back at each other. It was just fun to watch. And finally, there's been a lot of learning that has gone on between the operating companies. And when we did our closing session a few minutes ago, it was just a pretty standard comment that they just didn't realize what this company really is. They only knew their small piece. And so you watch the relationships get built. And so it's just one of the rewarding things. So again, I thank you all for coming. We are going to be at Nuclear next week, at least 16 of us, for the labor relations training, Mark, and performance management for the bargaining unit. And we'll have 4 other people join us who haven't had Mark training. But they'll take 20 people, so we're going to have 20 people in Mark training, 16 of ours and 4 others. So with that, thanks again. And Derek, would you like to say a few words as the executive sponsor?
I'll keep this light. So what did I say? I told you guys a few weeks ago, pay attention to the details. I showed up at the Heldridge Hotel about 25 minutes ago. I pulled up. I went upstairs. I looked around. I went into that room. There was some other training going on. I looked at the theater there, and nobody was there. And then it hit me. I'm like, oh, my God, I should be at Hadley Road. And then what do you think the second thought was in my mind? Wait, say that again? It's exactly what went through my mind. I said, boy, Karen is going to be mad. Sorry, Karen?
Why didn't you send me a text?
I said, well, I've been communicating with Sam, so I called Sam up, and I got his voicemail. I did. I sent you an email. Okay. So anyway, pay attention to the details. I can't stress that enough. It was on my calendar, and it was right for 4000 Hadley Road. This academy is all about leadership. I've done Leadership Academy before. This is the first time doing Supervisory Academy. It is truly all about leadership. And when I'm done with my remarks, I'll make a few comments here, and then you will see that the leadership is reflected in the presentation. It's all about continuous improvement. If you look in the presentation, you'll see it's about continuous improvement. A few weeks ago, I made remarks. Why do you come to work every day? You don't come to work to have a glorious day. It's a sunny day. It's a blue sky day. There's no issues. You come to work every day to solve problems. And that's when I did refer to getting involved in the details, because in order to solve problems, you need to understand what the problems are. You need to understand the details. I talked a lot about how you receive information. How do you receive news as supervisors? Do you yell at the people who come into the room, or do you sit down calmly and try to understand what the issues are and deal with all of the details of the issues in a very calm manner? That's critical. As new supervisors, you will have to do that. And then I also talked about support. You know who is supporting you. You know the people who support you. You know the people who don't support you. And we did talk about, somebody did ask a question about how do you deal with somebody who is not supporting you? Or how do you deal with dealing with a coworker who used to be, somebody who's reporting to you that used to be your coworker? And we talked a little bit about that, because that is a really critical skill you will need as supervisors. But most importantly, supporting people who support you and making them feel supported is extremely important as supervisors. If they support you and you do not support them, you will not succeed in your position. And that's really, those are the key elements of what we discussed. And when I went through the presentation that Sam sent me last night, once again, what made me proud as I looked through the presentation is that you can see the elements of all the work you have done in the last 3 weeks. And going back to my comments and comments from other executive speakers that spoke here, you can see them reflected in the presentation. You identified a problem. You worked on the problem. It's all about continuous improvement. I'm sure in the last 3 weeks you all supported each other. It's very unusual, by the way, to hear that 81% of you, 4 out of 5 people in this class are extroverts. So what was the nightlife like? I'm not sure. And the reason that shocks me, oh my God, except for 7, and also after I spoke. So that day that I spoke here, I would not have thought that, but I spoke right after lunch. And that's usually when people are not off, and I went on, and we talked a lot that day. But it is very unusual. I run an organization where it's quite the opposite. In fact, 9 out of 10 people in my organization are introverts. So that's a much different dynamic. So I can imagine that with everybody being extroverts, everybody wanted to try to lead. Everybody probably had comments and again, reflected in the presentation. So I'm really looking forward to that. With that, I'm going to now introduce Andy White. And Andy's going to go through gap analysis. And again, let me just thank you. It was my pleasure to be executive sponsor. I love talking about leadership, and look forward to a fantastic presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek. So after we received our challenge, the group was first charged with formulating our problem statement, which is PSEG customer satisfaction is not in the top quartile. With decreasing profit margins due to falling energy prices and an already flat customer base, customer retention is an extremely important part of our business strategy. Our goal is to identify gaps in behaviors directly related to customer satisfaction and propose solutions to address them.
Andy, why are profit margins down?
Well, that's a good question. Taken from our earnings report from 2013, we see that for PSEG Power, our expected earnings for the year 2014 are off about $100 million from the actual earnings from 2013. From the PJM website, we took a look at the dark spread, which is the theoretical gross margin of a coal plant selling electricity, versus the spark spread, which is the theoretical gross margin of a gas plant selling electricity, and compare that to the PJM location-based marginal pricing. Since 2008, we saw a dramatic decline in the dark spread. Since 2008, we saw a relatively flat spark spread, a slight increase. We also saw a rather sharp decrease in the first few years in location-based marginal pricing, which ended up trailing off.
Andy, why doesn't public service just try to sell more electricity?
Well, that too is a good question. Over the last 10 years, PSE&G has seen a relatively flat customer base. Ours is not a commodity that we can actually go out and push. In fact, public policy is based on curtailing electric usage.
So Andy, why worry about customer satisfaction?
Customer satisfaction is important. In order to maintain our current customer base, or even try to increase our customer base, we need to increase customer satisfaction. We need to increase our customer awareness in order to maintain or instill into the public confidence in our company by virtue of our long-standing reputation. The main focus areas that we had for our project was focus on electric delivery, focus on customer solutions, and focus on gas delivery. I'd like to introduce Kevin Anderson to come up and talk to us about electric delivery.
All right, my name is Kevin Anderson. I work at Salem Generating Station. And I'm going to talk to you about customer electric delivery. I'm going to improve an important point, so I just need everybody to stand up for a second. And similar to what Venki did this morning, I need you to close your eyes, and this is going to prove something very important. All right, you can open your eyes. It just proves that you're going to do whatever I say for the next 10 minutes or so, might be a good time to ask for a raise. A little bit of background in electric delivery. So customer satisfaction with electric delivery is not in top quartile. And that's kind of the problem statement we started with. What you're looking at here is a snapshot from the 2013 fourth quarter perception survey. So we took pieces out of it that were not top quartile. This column here is residential, and this column here is small business. And then down here you can see what quartile position the responses were in. So first is green, second's blue, and third is yellowish orange color. If you look at the categories we chose to pull out, if you can't see it, it's satisfaction with most recent phone call, being easy to reach by phone. Both of those were top quartile for residential. Over here for small business, both of those were in third quartile. Around outages, providing accurate estimates of power restoration times and being accessible by phone during an outage were second quartile for residential and were third quartile for small business. So we took that data and did a cause and effect analysis, or a fishbone diagram. And essentially what you do is take the problem, you branch off categories from that problem, and try to dive deeper into the main factors that cause the problem. So we tweaked the problem statement a little bit to customer perception of electric delivery surrounding outages. So a little more specific, and the perception where it's pretty important. I think on the front of your guys' programs has perception as reality, and that's an important point in what we're going to talk about. We identified three main categories doing our cause and effect analysis: restoration time, reliability, and then people. And the team chose people to focus on. We saw the most opportunity for improvement. We also believe that we could get the most value out of correcting some of the areas in the people category. So as I said, you come up with main factors from each category. Here's the main factors under people. So customer communication surrounding outages. And this main factor is really all about how do we communicate with customers? Do we do it multiple ways? Do we send out accurate information? Customer expectations and education. So this is about what the customer expects from us as a company, and are they educated? So a lot of our customers don't know what a transformer is, don't know what a switch yard is, don't know a lot of the things we do. So do they have that surface understanding so that when we tell them it's going to take a while to return the equipment, they understand why? The next one's observation of PSEG employees doing what they deem non-productive work. So again, I said perception is reality. So if they see someone standing on a job site outside of their house, their power's out, their perception is they're not doing productive work. The last one's behaviors of our guys on this job site. So safety, driving, professionalism of the employees on the job. And that's all surrounding really the behaviors of the employees on the job site. This slide here is our recommendations. So our team took all that data and came up with recommendations. In this column, you see the recommendations. This column here is whether or not it's implementable now or in the near future. And then this one's whether there's some sort of funding required to do it. So our first recommendation, and the one that we liked the most, was develop a phone application to update our customers. So we did look in the industry, and a number of other utilities do have phone applications. It'll send you notification updates, give you updates on outage status. And in this case, we want it to educate customers too. So if we say your power's out for 8 hours, this is why, and this is the failed component, we want to be able to educate the customer on what that component is and get them into the details. Again, funding would be required for that option to develop the app. The next two here are about PSEG My Alerts. Has anybody heard of My Alerts? Raise your hand. Yeah, yeah. Some people, I bet the whole class has because I gave this presentation already. So this is around My Alerts, and this is really a backup to the application, and it would take relative small amounts of funding to enhance My Alerts with more detail like we talked about. So it does right now email you and tell you when you have an outage and gives you a brief restoration time, but we want to get into the details so the customer feels informed. And the second part of that is upping our usage. Currently, we have 35,000 customers on My Alert, and 1.2 million are signed up for online. So that's relatively low in comparison to the 1.2 million. Last recommendation is develop a more detailed briefing sheet for customer solutions during outages. And this is really about people that call in and want to know why their power is out and how long it's going to be out. Giving them a sheet similar to what the phone application is going to say. And it's really just to communicate in another method, trying to get our customers informed. So with that, I'm going to give you guys a brief demonstration of how the phone application could be used.
Gentlemen, why is my power out?
We apologize, sir. Unfortunately, we have a tree that fell on one of our
I
transformers.
can see that. Why is my power out?
Well, that's why. Because
Well, how does that make power go out? I got this.
Okay.
Young man, I got news for you. Do you have a smartphone?
I do have a smartphone.
That's all you need.
That's all.
My PSEG, that's the new app.
Oh, okay. Well, let me try it.
Real-time information
All right, so I go to this outage.
and instant gratification.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go to the outage.
All you need is there. Please spread the word.
Oh, spread the word. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it very much. Now,
got it.
you're welcome. Get back to work. Fix my power.
You got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, now I'd like to. That's just one way we could use the app. I'd like to introduce Tom Dunworth to go for Gaston. Correction, customer solution. Thank you, Roland. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas Dunworth, Senior Operations Supervisor, Bergen Generating Station. Our group covered customer solutions, customer satisfaction. The background, customer solutions is comprised of many departments that have direct interaction on a daily basis with our customer base, such as the call center, being the voice of PSE&G, and the customer service center, as well as field employees being the face of PSE&G. Customer satisfaction is not in the top quartile. We can help achieve top quartile through the use of one of our company core values, and that's continuous improvement. I ask you, what does excellence look like? Through benchmarking the industry's best practices and applying those best practices, PSE&G will set the standard in customer satisfaction excellence. Our group used the fishbone method to develop a cause and effect in our analysis. Customer solutions is the front line of our company. And as stated earlier, the call center being the voice and our field employees being the face of PSE&G. Our group came up with 3 main contributing factors. We have first call resolution, availability, and holding employees to a higher accountability. First call resolution. Customer service representatives will provide complete customer satisfaction by answering all customer inquiries accurately. For availability, supervisors will continue to stress the importance of employee safety and wellness. This will have a direct impact on our availability to the customer. For example, less wait time for the customer calling into the call center, and more appointments completed in the field by our field employees. Accountability. Supervisors will continue to ensure that employees are meeting our company standards and the expectations of the customer. Supervisors will continue to provide meaningful feedback on employee behaviors. Our group came up with a slide with recommendations, whether implementable now or not, and whether funding is required. Our group decided to focus on benchmarking industry best practices by going out, looking at utility and non-utility customer service, how they're rated, learning those best practices, and bringing them back to PS, and applying it to our groups, and therefore becoming the standard of excellence in customer satisfaction. At this time, I'd like to hand it over to Sean Crompton. He'll be handling gas delivery.
Thank you, Tom. My name's Sean Crampton. I'm here from PSEG Nuclear Salem Station, and my team was in charge of the analysis for gas delivery. So to start off here, this is a snapshot out of the gas delivery scorecard, and as you can see, kind of a downward trend here, 9.1 versus a target of 9.2, and down from the previous year, customer satisfaction. So we started off by doing an analysis. We did a causal factor analysis and developed those causes from a combination of just things that we felt could be contributors and also actual survey results from the gas delivery customers. And then we bin those into three categories: people and behaviors, processes, and equipment. And from there we chose to focus on people and behaviors because that's what we as supervisors have the greatest ability to affect change in. So the three contributing factors, the first two you see up there is soft skills from the field reps and poor communications with the customer, and both of those are directly out of the survey results. So those were things that was feedback that was provided to us by the customers. The last thing, supervision not reinforcing the standards, that's something that we really couldn't rule out. We weren't able to get out there and watch the day-to-day activities, but it's something that we can improve, so we chose to include that and focus on it as something that we could make a change in. So up here you can see our recommendations, whether they're implementable now and whether or not there's funding required. And again, we tried to focus on things where we wouldn't need major funding, but really focused on changing behaviors rather than putting a big expenditure out there. So the first one's a customer service excellence card, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. And then the next two tie in with that. So it's a weekly meeting with the supervisors just to give them a chance to provide the feedback to their field employees, and I'll get to how the customer service card ties into that. And then the last piece is a 2C meeting, and that's a quarterly forum for the employees to be able to provide feedback about what they think would help improve customer service, to get them involved in the process and give them a safe place to volunteer that information. So the last piece here, the customer service card. So this may look familiar to some people. It's kind of like a 2-minute drill card. And the idea with this is not to create a new requirement for the employees, but to give them a place to start the conversation with their supervisors. So you can't have every supervisor in the field for every job every day. So we need them to be thinking critically about what they're doing on the job. And it makes clear to them what our expectation is for their performance, and it frames that conversation. So the way we envision this being used is on the front side, you've got a number of questions that they can ask themselves before they start a job to see if they're ready to provide excellent customer service. And that's what that first question is. It's, am I in the right frame of mind? Did I just get off an angry phone call with my spouse? Do I need to take a minute to calm down? Am I prepared to be the face of PSE&G? The second question is about their appearance, right? That ties into the soft skills. That's a piece of it from the survey results that we got. Is my shirt tucked in? Am I dressed in an appropriate way? Am I ready to go in and see this customer and have them see me as PSE&G? And then the last is tied to the communication piece. What's the problem? How am I going to fix it? When am I going to fix it? And again, that's direct feedback from the customers. Those are the things they want to know. So we want our employees thinking about that before they go into the customer's home. And then the flip side of the card, that's the assessment piece. These are the questions that they can go over by themselves, or they can go over with their supervisors. This is to frame that conversation. Was my customer satisfied with the service? Did they understand the problem, the resolution, and the time frame? And then, did I give the customer an opportunity to ask their questions, right? We don't want to just bombard them with information and then leave and have them feeling confused. Okay. And with that, I'd like to invite Rich up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Logato. I'm from Palisades Division. I'm a distribution supervisor. As we've just seen, we've discussed customer service and our reputation and how we're perceived. And if you noticed, the presenters of that were not from electric delivery or from the gas delivery. They were from our fossil plants, from our nuclear plants. So there was a real sense of camaraderie, sense of partnership that we've came across over the last 3 weeks, where everybody took on each other's business from the learnings that we've had with each other, which was an amazing experience for all of us. But to touch on what Sam said in his opening remarks, our reputation is one of our most valuable assets. And without our reputation, we wouldn't be able to have stockholder confidence, shareholder confidence. We would not be able to go for regulatory approval for certain projects that we're doing or new transmission lines that we want to put into the field to harden our system. And this is something that we've all come to learn we all have a part of. And how we present ourselves, not only here at work, but on the outside, is very important to all of us. PSE&G sets the standards. We're always measuring our achievements by the awards we receive, and we receive a lot of them. And when we started looking at the website and a lot of awards come up, some things don't come up as on an award. Like Salem Generating Station, they set the record for generating time, and Hope Creek was rated at the highest level by INPO. That's something I did not know coming into this 3-week program. And the people from Fossil that received this safety award really made it clear that they're proud of that safety award, just as we are for our restoration award from Electric Delivery. And as we all are, and we all should be in this room, and Ralph Izzo kept pointing it out to us during his meeting, we all are proud to be PSE&G. Thank you. Sam?
Thank you, Rich. At this time, we would like to open it up for questions. I ask that when you raise your hand for a question that when you're called on to please introduce yourself and state where you're from, and then we will have somebody from the class address your question. Yes?
Good morning. Jeff Stokes, Director of Circle, PSE&G Fossil. First of all, I'm encouraged when it comes to leadership academies to see that the team is tackling real issues that are affecting the enterprise. So, Karen, Derek, this is a great issue. The question, from the statements that I heard, I understand people are leaving, customers are leaving, and you took on the customer satisfaction issue. I think it's important that you also understand the other piece. Are customers leaving due to pricing? There's a term, and I've been escaping right now, where you're solicited by someone on the phone and they're asked to switch over. And I think it's important that you get that piece so you can understand how effective your customer satisfaction actually going to be. So my question is, do you understand that particular piece of customer satisfaction and people leaving for pricing issues?
The question posed is the difference between understanding people leaving for pricing and our general customer satisfaction. Richard?
Okay, we were presented with that, and we did discuss that throughout our talk. And when folks stopped in from our fossil plants and from our nuclear plants to have that conversation with us, they did point out one thing to us about pricing. Public service can go into your home and install a hot water heater and charge you $300 more than the average consumer or the average plumber that is available to all of us. However, customers are going to choose to go with public service because of our reputation, because of our employees, because of the way we conduct ourselves in their homes and outside their homes. So this is the reason why we really looked at the reputation part and our perception to the customer.
Sam, can I make a couple comments there? Jeff, that's a great question. It's the word you might be looking for is migration.
That's the word, migration, yes.
And so it's third-party suppliers that attempt to sell the commodity piece to our customers. But everybody should know in this room, the distribution piece, we are the only provider. There's a monopoly there, and that will always be the case. So as long as you're central station power and people are buying power from the grid and not making their own power, which is distributed generation, we are always the provider of the distribution service to customers. So, I mean, to get to Jeff's question, it's still a good one, even though we might lose the customer for the commodity. So a third-party supplier comes in and says, let me sell you the commodity piece. We're still billing the customer because they have to pass the distribution charge, and we actually bill them for commodity too, and then fund that over to the third-party supplier. But the question's a good one because I think I did provide that water heater example. You still want to retain the commodity piece because that's good for the power business. It's still good for the power business. And the question there is the reputation strong enough where the third-party supplier knocks on your door, gives you a phone call, gives you a solicitation to give you $75 off your next food bill at the supermarket because that's enticing you to switch? Is the reputation of the company good enough where you say, you know what, it's only $200 a year, I'm just going to get everything from PSE&G because they've always been there for me and I love this company. And that was the water heater example. When somebody went to the water heater business, I think we realized that we could charge more than others because we had the reputation. So I think they approached it the right way. And we did actually have that conversation a couple of weeks ago. The question is a great question.
And I know when this first started, PSEG took the tack of not going after customers. I think Constellation was really good at doing that. And I think it's education. We can educate folks that maybe some of the deals aren't as good as they are with your reputation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I want to say is one of the big advantages that we have as a utility is we do have per-year pricing, so that we don't have the spikes in the cost. And we had a really great occurrence that happened in January where everybody's price spiked, and then they were all complaining. So when we get our neighbors and stuff that complain, look at my bill. Well, why did you switch? That's one of the things that we do is we try to take the risk on for you so that you can predict your bill, and that keeps the budget nice. So there is some pricing strategies that we have in place already, and January just happened to be a great month. A lot of my friends are complaining about it. I love it.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Sheila Rostiak from Human Resources. I do want to congratulate the team. It's very impressive to have folks outside of a respected business unit sharing and presenting quite detailed information about another part. So clearly some good knowledge transfer there. Just curious, in talking about perception is reality, as you were coming up with your recommendation, certainly drawing on the hard data, the perception survey, and your knowledge of the business, assuming at least some of you live in our service territory, did you have any conversation with our customers to test drive some of your recommendations to say, yeah, this feels right?
The question is whether or not us living in PS territory have reached out to our neighbors and customers to express what we've learned from this. Chantel?
Hi, Council Browder, Electric Delivery, Metropolitan Division. That's amazing that you just asked that question. About 2 weeks ago, I went to the nail salon to get my nails done. And the owner of the salon asked a question regarding, should she stay with PSCG or should she go to a third-party supplier? And I said, well, you know our reputation. She said, yeah, you guys are around all the time. And I had to express to her that, you know, we're there. We will always be there. We'll always send someone out there and help you out. Whatever you need, we'll be able to provide that to you. And so she was very happy with that, and she was very encouraged. I think I satisfied her question because she's still with PSCG. Did I answer your question? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes, in the back.
Nicole Riley, Management and Leadership Development, Nuclear. On some of your recommendations, you have some low-hanging fruit, it appears, where it's low or no cost and could be executed immediately. What's the action plan for moving forward on that?
The recommendation for the action plan to attack low-hanging fruit moving forward. Anyone? Go ahead, Colin.
Colin Davis, Sterling Generating Station. I think the action plan is in each and every one of us, and that's directly influencing the direct reports, taking back everything we've learned in the last 3 weeks, and really applying it, not just saying, hey, I was here for 3 weeks. Michael talked to us about the academy didn't just start. You know, we're taking it back. We're going to finish the race. And that's all of us taking everything we've learned over the past 3 weeks back and really making sure that, like Derek talked about, we're supporting the people that are supporting us, and through that, I think we're going to improve the face of the company.
Thank you. I'd like to, at this time, we have time for one more question. If anybody else has any questions in our reception, please feel free to contact us, come up to us, and if we don't know the answer, somebody else on our team will be able to discuss. Go ahead.
I'd be willing to work with the team to help implement the recommendation. I'm Joe Forline, I'm in charge of customer satisfaction. First of all, I want to thank you for picking that topic, and you know, I really love when people work on customer sat, and you know, as a company, we want to be the best, we want to be #1, and we're open to any idea that comes to us. I'd be willing to sit down with the team, you know, at your discretion, and go through the recommendation. There's a lot of people in the room, so I have to say this because I don't want people leaving with a misunderstanding. We are top quartile in customer satisfaction. Last year we finished in the top quartile for probably 6 or 7 straight year for residential perception overall. You guys are looking at sub-questions around Brazil and out Rosa and utility also all made their goals on customer satisfaction last year. And that's in the MSI survey. It's also in J.D. Powell. We came second to record, and we're consistently in top quartile. And you know, so if you look at our customer metrics, we are continuing to improve. And when you talk about losing customers in utility, if you look at some of the things we've done in the last few years, we basically doubled the size of our business because we've been able to invest in transmission and distribution and solar energy efficiency because of our good reputation, our good customer satisfaction, the ability for people to put these on the bill. And things like our penetration of worry-free, which no one has the market share that we have in our worry-free business. Things like the governor of New York coming out and saying, we want PSCG to come in and take Long Island because of their brand. With the fact that we won the Reliability Award as the most reliable utility in the Mid-Atlantic for 12 years in a row. These are all indications of how well we do with customer sat. So I want you to at least be proud that your company cares about customer sat, and we are trying to get better, and we will take all your recommendations forward. Thank you for it.
Thank you. I will take that last question in the back. You guys put your hands up at the same time. So if you, I don't want to cut you. Yeah, we'll end that to this.
Actually, you touched on part of mine. The second two speakers, Tom and Sean, spoke about benchmarking, internal and external. Kevin, I didn't hear of benchmarking in your presentation, and specifically the residential information that you provided was top quartile. It was clear there. but the small business wasn't. So, one, I think often, Brian Clark Fossil, at least in our business, oftentimes we have internal benchmarking that we don't take the opportunity to take advantage of, so we have learnings surrounding us all the time. So, did you take a look at what the difference is between residential and small business? Is there anything that you could take from the residential learnings and apply it to small business?
Kevin Anderson, BSU Nuclear. We didn't look at the specific difference between small business and residential. It's something we need to look at in the future, because there's obviously a difference between how residential customers perceive us and how small businesses do. The reason we came up with the phone app was it was a full perception type thing. So if you look, we were top quartile in some of the items for residential, but the other items we were second quartile and third quartile for residential. So there was still some room to move, and it was about perception. But it's a good comment. It's something we need to look at.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback and the questions. At this time, I'd like to ask Derek to come help. We're going to, and actually the front row to come up over here. We're going to go through a key learning that we all learned throughout the 3-week academy. And okay. Yeah, you can stand up over there. We'll each state our problem and then come up here. So, as I stated earlier, my name's Sam Campanella. I work at Central Region as an engineer for the gas distribution department. My key learning is in the area of time management. I learned that structures and agendas are necessary to run effective meetings. When I return to Central Region, I plan to ensure and develop and ensure that I distribute agendas prior to each meeting that I run. This will result in effective meeting running and time management for structured and efficient meetings.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pablo Barreros. I work in Lawrenceville as a customer solutions supervisor. My key learning area is in the area of time management. I learned that by using the circle of influence, I can directly control and have influence over my time. When I return to Lawrenceville, I plan to directly control my time. By doing this will result in me being able to prioritize my work and really put an emphasis on performance management.
Good morning. My name is Ibrahim Endur. I work at LTS as a supervising test engineer. My key area for learning was in managing change. I learned that managing change needs two elements. First, the process of change. Second, the feelings around change. When I return to LTS, I plan to share the successful ways of implementing change in the group, and this will result in good goal alignment. Thank you.
My name is Roland Romines. I work at Salem Generating Station as a control room supervisor candidate. My key learning was in the area of MBTI personality types that I didn't know existed. I learned that I am an ESTJ, which means I'm a thinking type. And so when I return to the plant, I hope I can use this, as my girlfriend would say, to have emotions in emotional situations. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Venki Bogam. I work at Newark as the IT business lead. My key learning from Academy is in the area of giving and receiving feedback. I learned that it is essential to give the feedback in a timely fashion in order to ensure expectations. When I return to Newark, I plan on to give both good as well as corrective feedback to my employees in a timely fashion. This will result in ensuring continued alignment as well as communicating expectations.
My name is Richard Legato from Palisades Division, Distribution Supervisor. One of my key learnings was in communication. I learned that I was not having effective conversation with my direct reports. When I returned to Palisades, I plan on utilizing the coaching model, especially active listening, to better understand and paraphrase what it is my direct reports are trying to say to me so I get the message they're bringing to the table. Thank you.
My name is Eric Zuby. I'm a senior engineering plant supervisor in Southern Division. My key learning is in the area of time management. I learned that by using a multi-level approach, it will help to organize my workload. When I return to Morristown, I plan to implement a work plan, and this will help to organize my work group as well as helping customer satisfaction.
My name's Bill Mashinsky. I work at Mercer Generating Station as a senior operations supervisor. My key learning was in the area of people development. I learned from every executive speaker that spoke to us that people are our most valuable asset. When I return to Mercer Generating Station, I plan on using the three-part development program I learned through the academy and working with my direct reports to implement a strategic plan for their future with PSEG.
Good morning. My name is Colin Davis. I work at Salem Generating Station as a control room supervisor candidate. My key area of learning was in the area of teamwork. I learned that to be a good leader, sometimes you have to follow. And I will use this at Salem to make sure that my future shift is a high-performing team.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Baca. I work at PSEG Nuclear as the dosimetry supervisor. My key learning was in the area of leading effective group meetings. I learned that each of us bears an equal responsibility in the success and efficiency of a meeting. When I return to nuclear, I plan to have agendas for my meetings, and that will result in an incremental improvement in my meeting efficiency.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew White. I work at the Bethlehem Energy Center. My key learning was in the area of operational excellence. I learned that in order to maximize the benefit of our assets, we must engage our people, or engage our employees. When I return to Bethlehem, I plan to encourage employees to take initiative and make things happen. This will demonstrate we're taking the necessary steps to enhance the continued success of our station.
Good morning. My name is Kurt DeWitt. I work as a security operations supervisor at Salem Hope Creek Generating Station. My key learning was in the area of providing feedback and effective communications. I learned that I needed to first create an open and supportive environment in order for individuals to be able to accept their feedback. When I go back to work, I plan to use the skills learned here, particularly the coach model, to create that supportive environment that will result in more engaged employees and higher accountability to the team.
Good morning. My name is Travis Zygo. I work at Hope Creek Generating Station as a chemistry supervisor. My key learning was in the area of communications. I learned that there are many forms of communication breakdowns. When I return to Hope Creek, I plan to use active listening and continuous feedback. This will eliminate any communication breakdowns in the future. I promise, Frank.
My name is Mark Tice. I work at Seawarren Generating Station as a generation supervisor. My key learning is in the area of time management. I learned I need to develop better time management skills. When I return to Seawarren, I plan to develop in the area of written communications. This will result in more effective time management, allowing me to focus my efforts on spending more time in the field.
Hello, my name is Dania Johnson. I work at the Northern Inquiry Call Center as a customer operations supervisor. One of my key learning was situational leadership. I learned that a leader needs to blend direction and support in order to provide a person or persons with what they cannot provide for themselves. When I return to the call center, I plan to implement the situational leadership styles, and this will result in helping my team move to maximum effectiveness.
Hello, my name is Chantel Browder. I work in electric delivery. I'm from Metropolitan Division in Clifton. I work as an engineering supervisor. My key learning area was in the area of engaging, accountability, and results. I learned that in order to achieve optimal results, my team needs to be engaged and realize their level of accountability. Sorry about that. When I return to the division, I plan to sit down with each one of my team members and customize a development plan for them to help them rekindle their passion. I'm passionate about my work, and I want them to feel the same way. This will aid in supporting the company's business strategy and maximize business outcomes and results.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Anderson. I work at Salem Generating Station as an engineering supervisor. My key learning is in the area of active listening. I learned that when others are speaking, I often am formulating responses in my head rather than listening to what they're saying. When I return to the plant, I plan to practice my active listening skills by writing down responses rather than saying them right away, and also repeating back what people said to me. This will result in mutual understanding and promoting teamwork.
Good morning, my name is Joe Rico. I work at Harmon Cove as a meter reading supervisor. My key learning is in the area of communication. I learned that I need to give more frequent feedback to my direct reports. When I return to Harmon Cove, I plan to meet with my direct reports and more frequently provide that feedback. This will result in a better understanding of expectations and an increase in overall productivity for the department.
Hello, my name is Jim McEwen. I work at Hope Creek Nuclear Generating Station as a control room supervisor. My key learning is in the area of time management. I've learned that I put off unpleasant tasks. When I return to Hope Creek, I plan to prioritize unpleasant tasks and perform them first, get them out of the way. Hopefully this will result in more time to get out in the field and supervise not only in the field but also in the control room.
Good morning again. My name is Thomas Dunworth, Senior Operations Supervisor at Bergen Generating Station. My key learning was in the area of coaching employees. I've had many discussions with my manager about this. What I learned is that effective communications is an essential building block of coaching an employee. When I return to Bergen, I plan to ask more open-ended questions during coaching sessions in order to obtain a feeling for what the employee is thinking and use that to come to a mutual agreement during our coaching sessions. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Crampton. I work at Salem Generating Station as a control room supervisor. My key learning is in the area of communications. And I learned that when I'm communicating down the chain, I need to give them the what, the when, and the why. And when I'm communicating up the chain, I only need to give them the what and the when. This will result in more effective and concise communication with both my direct reports and my management.
So at this time, I'd like to thank everybody again for coming and supporting us throughout our entire development. And additionally, we would like to extend an extra special thanks to Karen Powell for, clap now. Karen has been very dedicated and, put in a lot of time. She was the first one in every day and the last one to leave throughout this entire process. And, I can speak on behalf of everybody. We've learned a lot, and you've definitely equipped us with tools to help us be better leaders back at our office. So thank you again. Now, come up. There's a vase. Thank you. So with that, our ceremony is over. May we please invite anybody to join us in the reception next door in the Aruba room. Thank you.